And welcome everybody to another edition here of the Metal Steel Podcast. With, of course, yours truly, Charles Prodigy Richey. And first and foremost, I want to just begin by thanking everybody for saying a record number of views from last week's episode, eclipsing over 400 and counting. I just want to say thank you very much. Continue to check out my YouTube channel. Once again, you can just type in Mass Steel Podcast. Feel free to hit that subscribe button. You can get notified of the latest videos I'll be doing here, covering the Pittsburgh Steelers and the National Football League. As we are right now on the eve of the NFL Awards ceremony, which will be taking place tomorrow on Fox and on NFL Network, which will be simultaneously airing and streaming the event right there. That will begin at 9 Eastern, 8 Central Time in the Midwest, and of course, 6 p.m. Pacific Time on the West Coast. A lot of good, exciting topics we're going to get into as we continue to march down closer as Super Bowl 59. We are less than 4 days away from the kickoff happening in New Orleans, Louisiana, right there, which hosted a lot of great Super Bowl games in their own history right there. And it's going to definitely be a big showdown right there. Another Super Bowl rematch, the ninth Super Bowl rematch in the Super Bowl era right there, pitting the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Philadelphia Eagles. And we've only had two times in the history where it's been played on teams' home turf. But ironically, in each of those instances right there, too, we look at the only one time that the home team did not get to be the home team on their home turf was back in 2021 in SoFi Stadium when the LA Rams were hosting the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals were declared the home team despite being played in Los Angeles, California for that event. But anyway, we're getting ready to get into it. A lot more fallouts and and well, that's I shouldn't say a fallout, but a dark cloud still hovering over the offensive scheme of things. More in particular, it's family. It's time to play the family feud. I guess you could say. Uh, I'm talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers right now, a team who actually was coupled hand in hand with the Pirates, and they did it together. More so, the Pirates and the Steelers caught on to it in the late '70s. The "We Are Family" theme, but it doesn't seem like it's becoming much of a family these days, is it? And of course, we're talking about the elephant in the room right now, trying to figure out what to do with the quarterback position. As I mentioned right now, it's been like really a true question right now. Who is really in charge for the disaster what's been taking place with this team that's just hamstrung them? And right now, I mean, it does not seem to be a team with any remnants of hope, depending what to do on free agency and the trade and the draft. I mean, you're just gonna be stuck in the same position for right now, and it's not hard to put two and two together. Mike Tomlin's tenure right now, as he will be entering his 19th season this year when the 2025 season kicks off. I mean, he is clearly the bigger voice in all the room, despite the fact that he's only got the title as head coach. But make no mistake about it, though. I mean, in some people's mind, he was paying in as the de facto head coach slash GM and director of personnel. If you really put two and two together, I mean, the biggest voice and influence in the room, who they want to acquire free agency in the draft, still working as a tandem together, and all of that. And it's really not hard to figure out why. Now, of course, you look at a guy like Art Rooney, who's definitely like still insistent on sticking with running the ball and winning with the run game and a good defense. I mean, which is definitely very true right now. So when you really think about it too, for the most part, uh, here's the biggest concern I was like hearing too as of recently, and Joe Starkey and one of his co-hosts on 93.7 The Fan, they were mentioning too right now. I mean, is it very well possible that we could see Art Rooney right now? He is 72 years old right now, and by the time Mike Tomlin's contract runs out, which will be after the 2027 season. Remember, he signed a 3-year extension last summer. He'll be 75 years old right there. And Mike Tomlin, of course, at that point, too, if I'm not mistaken, will be 55 years old, too. So a 12-year difference in the age gap. But some people are starting to wondering, too, that the reason why Art Rooney hasn't elected to replace Mike Tomlin or put pressure on them. I mean, just leaving him with 1 year left on his deal with no extensions. Which he's got in recent memory in the past 4 years, he's gotten two contract extensions, each of which being three. That he's just hesitant to let go of a good coach. I mean, he said on record, you don't get rid of a good coach, and which seems to be the biggest problem right here. Okay, that's true, but I mean, what do you really start to do right now to make things? I mean, what type of message are you planning on sending? I think clearly right now, if I were to equate this, I'm from Chicago. I would probably look at Art Rooney these days as more like a too loyal to a fault Jerry Reinsdorf, where he doesn't want like step on anyone's toes. Now, of course, Jerry Reinsdorf did go through many different coaches. I mean, since Phil Jackson, but the problem is, though, he has been a lot too loyal to like his front office people, or it's his GM, his hardworking people in the organization that works behind the scenes to like market the Bulls, the front office staff before he even gets to the players. I mean, he still seems to follow that formula right there, trust his own people, and can find a way to attract fans coming to the stadium. But I mean, in this case, it is kind of the opposite, but true in the sense too. I mean, how much do you allow? I mean, are you hesitant to want to just step up because of the relationship that you had over these past 18 years? I mean, a team who still has mindset that, I mean, it just has not evolved with today's game. It's still the crazy belief that they're going to be playing uh, 70s style football back to 74, according to Joe Starkey, where this going to play hard, grit, smash you in the mouth style defense, or they're going to beat you on the ground. I'm for having a good running game, but you also have to do that more to the extent with your quarterback when blitzes are getting more faster and more aggressive. I'm not advocating that I want to have like a run first quarterback that's going to be doing at least 65% running, maybe 50-50, 60-40. We'll see. But you have to at least right now be aware of situations too where, yeah, we've got to that point where, and offensive line protection has still got a ways to go. I mean, this offensive line, it's still a bunch of question marks. I mean, how much more growing pains are we going to be witnessing right now behind guys like a Zach Frazier or, I mean, Troy Fautanu? I mean, who else you got here? I mean, Broderick Jones. I mean, do you really have any trust? Steelers right now are going to be able to, I mean, get the right message behind and how you get back there. I mean, offensive line is still huge. Having a good front on your defense is also still a big thing. And after trying to calm myself down for a little bit, and here what Ray Fittipaldo was definitely identifying, where he really thinks it seems to make a lot of sense. They could be looking for guys up front on the defense. This is guys with a Cam Hayward, And of course, your other guys on there too. I mean, we had on this team. I mean, it's just been really struggling mightily for them. And yeah, I think for right now, you also got to look at too who's going to be helping out, like the guys like Larry Ogunjobi or Keanu Benton right now. I mean, who just got walloped in the playoffs to finish out the regular season. So a lot of thinking to do, but I think you do have to start there before we get to quarterback. The question is going to be still the $1 million question. Who do you go with at this point? I mean, are we at a point right now where we're currently looking at the landscape, the stories that we heard by directly from Jerry Dulac and the hits being dropped by Mark Bali with the butting heads of Russell Wilson and Arthur Smith? Is this more of a power play, to go in the direction of Justin Fields right now? And and how much really faith? I mean, what was Russell Wilson really doing that blew off their game plans? I mean, the sickening thing is, I mean, after starting off a 6-1 start, as mentioned by Jerry Dulac of the Post Gazette, I mean, if you really think about it right there, it's going 6-1. That starts by averaging 255 yards passing with a pass rating of 103.88. And he averaged in their 5 game losing streak, the 4 games of the regular season plus the playoff, also the Ravens, averaged about 194 yards and a pass rating of 89 in the final uh, games. Steelers averaged 28 over 28 points in Wilson's first 7 starts, but just 14.2 points in the final 5 games. And this is the first time since Chuck Noll where they've won 5 consecutive games without topping 17 points. Now, the biggest turning point where things just kind of went south was back on December 1st against the Cincinnati Bengals right there. I mean, at that moment in time, you had 6 games remaining, and you got them up to over like 44 points in that game on the road in Cincinnati, where they literally had to outdo Joe Burrow, and they did. But Arthur Smith was not pleased. I guess that Russell Wilson was like changing like routes. I mean, like at like say the line of scrimmage, more particularly. Wilson's desire to attack with the pass further down the field clashed with Arthur's run first mentality, which caused quite a tremendous deal of friction that was gradually being noticed. Now the question remains, as Jerry points out, what do the Steelers do if they decide to resign Wilson? I mean, there's still some sentiment. I mean, it's still on the table that they're going to either bring back him or Justin Fields. If it is Wilson, reasonably, they're going to be asking him for a little bit of a discount. I mean, at this point, at this stage in his career, or probably like a 2 or 3 year deal that averages between 20 to 25 million. Now, if Wilson seeks a larger deal, he'll have to do it on the free agent market more than likely. He's not going to be squeezing that money clearly out of the Steelers' pocketbooks the way the season has folded. Here's my thing. I think for right now, I so want Russell Wilson. I'm one of the very few. It's it's still a passing league, but you can't keep sticking to your guns too much. And I really starting to wonder right now. We could be seeing the final years of Mike Tomlin's run in Pittsburgh after this contract. I mean, which brings me back to why I opened up with the show after hearing towards the end of last week Art Rooney, who'll be 75, and more than likely will be passing down the reins to, I think it was Dan Rooney Jr., who'll be the next in line to run the Steelers organization, keeping it in the Rooney family. Should they decide to go that route, we could be seeing the end of the Mike Tomlin, Art Rooney era in Pittsburgh very soon. I mean, unfortunately, it's going to have to be a lot more patience, maybe a little bit more heartbreak. But I mean, I don't know if I could stomach right now just selling like if they don't make the playoffs, it's another winning season where it's no higher up in the draft and being back to square one. That is just not gonna cut it. Which brings me to this point right here. Joe Starkey, I mean, who definitely seems to think right now that Russell's beef shouldn't be with necessarily Arthur Smith, but the head man, Mike Tomlin, coach Mike T, Iron Mike, whatever you want to call him. And I really, like I said, I do not want to disrespect the man's dedication, his commitment to his team. But hey, it's happened with Don Shula with the Miami Dolphins, Bill Walsh with the 49ers, Mike Ditka's Bears, Chuck Noll's Steelers. At some point, the game will start to pass you by if you do not evolve. I mean, it's setting up for an ugly uh, split, not necessarily from the Steelers organization, but definitely more so the fans and the media, whoever feel a little bit more disconnect, what do you think continues to run? Because clearly, let's just let this sink in right now. I mean, you thought Steelers fans were on edge when Brady and Belichick's Patriots, put Steeler Nation on pins and needles. And this was during the time. Guess what? Believe it or not, the Steelers had a pair of playoff wins to make a deeper playoff run. Now, granted, they haven't been to the Super Bowl right now. Let's be 15 years and counting. Okay, they will be trying to end a 17-year Super Bowl drought. Not going to happen this year, obviously. Not even close. No freaking way. But here's my point with that. The Patriots did tie the Steelers record for Super Bowls. And you look at right now, guess what? The new villains of the NFL. The bad guys usually make up like, the story in a show. The Kansas City Chiefs right now. Where it's like, all right, we've seen enough, but it's like, yeah. It's like, I mean, when are you guys gonna lose? When are we gonna stop seeing Taylor Swift with Travis Kelsey? I mean, Taylor Swift in the press box. It's just to be at his games or not. Patrick Mahomes, who also wants to catch Tom Brady for Super Bowls with 7. It's gonna be a tough as nails challenge. What they got for in store with the Philadelphia Eagles, which we'll get to in a moment. I mean, but they three-peat. Guess what? One win away from tying the Steelers for 6 once again. And the next year, just need you'll just simply need 2 more to pass them for 7. Maybe at 8. Maybe Patrick Mahomes passes Brady for Super Bowl rings. Who knows? I mean, he gets 8 and the Chiefs have 9. Think about that. They won their 4th. This will be their 5th Super Bowl for the Kansas City Chiefs. They'll be the second team in NFL history to ever repeat. Packers did do it two times, but never on winning three straight Super Bowls. Once again, I believe they did it in the 30s under Curly Lambeau, which a field was named after him, which is Lambeau Field. And then the other one, too, Vince Lombardi, who actually had the trophy named after him by the NFL, who won the last league championship plus the first two Super Bowls, three-peat. And how fitting and ironic twist would that be? After Vince Lombardi was asked at the end of Super Bowl one by the media, how they dragged it out of him to say like the NFL is not at the or the AFL is not at the elite level what the NFL team's brand of football is. Talk about justice being served on a dish served cold right there. The Chiefs do this. I mean, to be one of the first teams scorned at for representing the AFL before it became what it became to be the NFL, the NFC and AFC merger, which Pete Rozelle definitely made it happen, thanks in large part to the late Tex Schramm of the Cowboys and and then Clark Hunt, I believe it was, or Lamar Hunt, excuse me, Lamar Hunt of the Kansas City Chiefs, which was negotiated. But like I said, that is what's spelling right here. I mean, we could all see this coming. This is why it stings more. So, again, I'm just going to just leave this topic right this. Once again, let's reevaluate things. Who is the biggest alpha in the room that's causing the biggest problems with his organization? Would you say A, Art Rooney, B, Mike Tomlin, C, Arthur Smith, or D, Russell Wilson? Let that sink in before we go a little bit more further into this offseason. I really don't know which way to go, but I think this definitely favors more Justin Fields to be. It makes more sense with what the NFL is today, despite the fact I'm still not a buyer of him gaining next level success with this team. But I think for the league is at right now, it makes sense for the short run, even though I still prefer Russell Wilson.
And, I never really dreamed. I wasn't a dreamer. Dreaming's hoping. I believed. When you believe it, I think it has something the way you act and how you deal with people. Your expectation, and you put expectations on them. You treat a person as he is, he's going to stay as he is. Treat a person as if he were what he could be and should be, he'll become what he could be and should be. I didn't dream, I believed we were going to do it.
The NFL awards ceremony, let's just finish this off right now, to be hosted tomorrow, like I said, simultaneously on Fox and NFL Network. We'll be having some interesting awards right there. Of course, the juicier topics. I know the MVP is definitely be one. We'll get to that in just a moment, but I'm going to delve right into it. The Pro Football Hall of Fame right now. And this has been a real interesting one right here. For the last 5 years since retiring, he's one of the first year eligibles in this class. I'm talking about none other than Eli Manning, two-time Super Bowl champion, the brother of Peyton Manning right here. Eli joins five other players who are in their first year of eligibility, such as Adam Vinatieri, Marshall Yanda, Steve Smith Jr., and Lou Kuechly for the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2025. Now, Eli Manning right here, I mean, to his credit right here, I mean, a guy who's definitely stopped Tom Brady twice, I mean, in Super Bowls right here. I mean, who's stopped him from winning his fourth, I mean, on two separate occasions. Of course, in Super Bowl 42 and Super Bowl 46, David Tyree helmet catch, because that was made. But aside from that, I mean, Eli Manning right now, I mean, for the most part, has definitely held his own very well. I mean, when you look at more particularly to the Iron Man streaks, he is third on the list with the most consecutive starts, 210 consecutive regular season starts with 12 playoffs for 222 grand total. That ranks third behind Philip Rivers. And the king of the Ironman streak, which would be Brett Favre, for 297 consecutive regular season games for 321 with 24 total playoff appearances. Now, Eli Manning, too, I mean, I think it's definitely been helping a great deal. I mean, with his brother Peyton doing the Manning cast on Monday Night Football, coaching of the toxic, no offense, Pro Bowl. And I only say toxic, it's just no one's ready to accept the reality of flag football yet. Pray that does not happen in this league for regular season games, but for just all-star games in general, across the board sports, the only one that right now it's like probably has any hope is the NBA. But even that was a turnoff with just hardly any defense being played. Just everything is just too much about safety. But anyway, Eli Manning right now, he's definitely been in the spotlight a lot. I mean, very knowledgeable about this game, but I'm just not sure. I mean, if we're going to be basing it that the two Super Bowl championships and the two Super Bowl MVPs, is that enough for him to make it into the Hall of Fame? Now he knows right now where he's made it or not. Of course, these negotiations. I mean, they're, as you can see, watching at the awards ceremony. I want to say since 2021 is where you'd be seeing a lot more videos where you'd be seeing the knocks in these doors where it's like former teammates or people from the hall itself come over to the players, give them the news they made it to Pro Football Hall of Fame. And I'm just not sure. I think definitely Eli Manning is a Hall of Famer. I think the question is whether or not it's going to be first ballot Hall of Fame. I don't think first ballot, but he definitely goes in. I'd say maybe on a second, third, maybe fourth attempt. The only concern is just keep in mind, though, remember, though, Ben Roethlisberger retired 2 years later. Now, Ben Roethlisberger, as much as I would like to think that he should be in the Hall of Fame on his first year, I would not be surprised they make him wait a little bit before he gets inducted. I mean, it's not that inconceivable at this point. But I think for right now, when you look at like Eli and just what he's just meant like to this league in general. I mean, just like I mean the Manning family itself too. I mean the class they bring in here. I mean, when you really look at it, I mean how they conducted themselves. I mean, it was like royalty right here, as you can see. Eli Manning, he's currently 12th in game-winning drives right there. That is eighth amongst his current peers that he's played with during his career. So that's pretty good. He's in the top 10 at least in there. And I think the other thing too, you probably have to look at is like fourth quarter, like comebacks. When we take a look at, I mean, Eli Manning doesn't seem like he's done pretty well in that, but I mean, still, he's definitely got enough cachet to be worthy of Hall of Fame induction. Like I said, I'm not sure first ballot, but the other guys on this list who I do believe will get the nod going into the Hall of Fame, you have to look at a guy like Antonio Gates. Antonio Gates, who's spent 17 seasons, I mean, with the Chargers right there. I mean, 16 seasons with the Chargers right there. He's number one in touchdowns all time for tight ends in the NFL, where he's got 116. I mean, that is five more than the current Hall of Famer, uh, Tony Gonzalez, formerly the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, that's a guy right there. I mean, I know tight ends really get like a little bit tough love as a receiver on the first ballot, but I think I like Antonio Gates at least going in that class right there. I mean, another guy on this list too. Definitely give me Terrell Suggs. I mean, what he's meant to like Ray Lewis and that Ravens team. I mean, granted, he's won only one Super Bowl. I mean, helped contributing their second Super Bowl. He's also got two rings, but his other one is with the Kansas City Chiefs in 2019, 5 years ago, when they helped defeat the San Francisco 49ers. He was key late in that closeout game, if I'm not mistaken there. But still, I mean, what he's done as outside linebacker, the way he's got after the quarterbacks, I believe he's got 139 career sacks, and he was definitely like a true game record. I mean, so definitely give me Terrell Suggs in there. I mean, who's going this year? So I got Antonio Gates, Terrell Suggs. Also, look at on this list right now who should be in here. I'll probably also have to look at let's see. Maybe I think one other person you had to give a break to. I probably give it to Reggie Wayne, former Indianapolis Colts, right there, who paired with Marvin Harrison under Peyton Manning. I think he definitely gets a nod. I mean, it's gonna be a tough choice between him and Steve Smith, but I like Eli Moore. I mean, Reggie Moore was what they did in their lone Super Bowl championship as the Indianapolis Colts. Give me Reggie Wayne. And then also too, Jared Allen, I think he finally gets a break right there. Former longtime Viking, also played briefly for the Bears. Outside linebackers, also in the 130 sack neighborhood. Last but not least, the clutchest kicker in the game, and Vinatieri. And then for like the and for the FMVP awards right there too. I'm going with Lamar Jackson. You got it right. Lamar Jackson, he's going to win his third MVP, who just boasted right now. I mean, when you look at his season right here, his touchdown to interception ratio is just really off the chart. It's really being paired with Tom Munkin right here. He's thrown the most touchdowns in his career, 41 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. The second best was in his second year when he won his first league MVP, his first full time season as a regular starter. 36 touchdowns to 6 interceptions, where they went 14-2 that season, set a single season record for rushing by a team. So give me him to win the MVP for that, because you got in here too. I mean, the other candidates. I mean, for league MVP, you got Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills, Saquon Barkley, who nearly broke Eric Dickerson's record, but of course, Nick Sirianni pulled him out. He wanted healthy for the playoffs. It looks like it may pay dividends. Joe Burrow of the Cincinnati Bengals, Jared Goff of the Detroit Lions. That's all you got right there. But for Defensive Player of the Year, I might have to go Trace Hendrickson. All the Bengals, he's got the sacks right there. TJ Watt, I'm sorry, I'm not giving it to him. We all know, if you watch his team closely, him not being able to sack the quarterback, beat the double teams, he has not impacted his defense like we know what he's capable of. And then also too, for Offensive Player of the Year, give me Shamar Chase, who joins a list right now too for, I mean, in the Super Bowl era right here. He becomes the sixth player in the Super Bowl era to win the Triple Crown, doing it last since Cooper Kupp back in 2021 for leading with receptions, yards, and touchdowns. Also joins us, like I said, Cooper Kupp, Steve Smith Sr. back in 2005 with the Panthers, Sterling Sharp with the Packers, and of course, Jerry Rice of the San Francisco 49ers, which, by the way, during the 1990 season, came up short repeating. But of course, they were knocked out in the NFC Conference Championship game to the New York Giants. So that's going to do it for this edition here on the Metal Steel Podcast. Hope you guys enjoy the awards ceremony. Stay tuned. I'm going to try and come back at you with another podcast previewing Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans, Louisiana. Once again, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, you can follow me on X at MetalSteelCGR and on Instagram at MetalSteelNation. As I leave you, don't be trolling, be rolling. Here we go, serious. Here we go. I go. Thank you for watching the Metal Steel Podcast with your host, Charles Prodigy Richey, here on YouTube. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button. And for all the latest Metal Steel Podcast episodes, feel free to download them on Mixcloud, Anchor.fm, and SoundCloud, wherever you get your podcasts.